Short run. This is when you have at least one fixed input. Maybe it's the salaries that you've agreed to for your factory's managers. There's not really a set amount of time here though. Long run. This is when all inputs are variable. You can change anything you want about your business, its size or its capabilities, what you produce, and how many people you employ. The law of diminishing marginal returns. Eventually, increasing variable inputs into a fixed capital system results in smaller marginal increases in output. Basically, too many cooks in the kitchen. You need more fixed capital if you're going to continue to hire more people. This only occurs in the short run because, of course, in the long run, you can adjust everything. Marginal revenue. This is the change in total revenue. We calculate total revenue with P times Q, generated by one more output sold. We usually use MR to abbreviate marginal revenue. Marginal cost. MC. Marginal cost is the cost of producing one more good. It's a type of variable good, and the graph of it usually looks like a Nike swoosh. Fixed cost. This is something that doesn't change no matter how much stuff you're producing, stuff like rent and managers' salaries. Variable cost. This does change depending on the output. Inputs, wages, materials. Say you run a pizza restaurant. Well, to make more pizza, your variable costs will increase based on things like pizza dough or ingredients, the people that work there, etc. Total cost. Just add up fixed cost and variable cost. Returns to scale. Increasing returns to scale means that output increases by more than the change in inputs. So if you increase inputs by 10% and you get 20% more output, that's increasing returns to scale. Decreasing returns to scale means that output increases by less than the change in inputs. So you put 10% more inputs in and you only get 5% more output. A constant or efficient returns to scale would mean those percentage changes are the same. Accounting profit. This is calculated by taking revenue minus explicit costs. It ignores the alternative use of capital, things like opportunity costs, and it's usually greater than economic profit. Economic profit. Take revenue and subtract explicit, and here's the big one, implicit costs. This is what makes economics kind of different and interesting. We consider the alternative use of capital or the opportunity costs. Sure, your business might be making huge accounting profits, but what if you could be making even more money in a different industry by using a different use case for your capital goods? That would be your opportunity cost. So just because you're making a big accounting profit doesn't necessarily mean you're a great business. It's usually less than accounting profit. Normal profit, aka zero economic profit. This is a profit that is just high enough to continue the firm's activity. Remember, accounting profit is usually more than economic profit, so you might be making some good money. It happens when we see that P is equal to ATC, or price equals average total cost. Profit maximizing rule. You'll see this a ton. MR equals MC. That's it. When marginal revenue equals marginal cost for perfect competition, we have profit maximizing. It'll always tell you the output that a firm should choose, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee you'll find the price, especially in oligopolies and monopolies and monopolistic competition. Economic loss, or a negative economic profit. This will push firms and investors out of the industry. You can't do this in the long run. You could do it in the short run as long as you're covering variable costs. It happens when ATC, average total cost, is above price. And for perfect competition, remember, price equals marginal revenue. Shutdown rule. When AVC, your average variable cost, is bigger than your price, you should shut down. This doesn't mean go out of business, but it does mean you should not produce things. You should cease production in the short run because you'll actually save money. 4 market structures. Now, In this unit, you only have to know perfect competition, but I put the rest down below. You might want to write those down for later. Perfect competition is a market where we have identical products, low barriers to entry, many firms. They're all price takers, and demand equals marginal revenue. A great example of perfect competition is most agricultural markets and commodity markets. Commodity versus differentiated products. A commodity is an identical good. There's no difference between the goods from two different suppliers. They're all the same. You can't tell a difference. It doesn't matter who you buy it from. A differentiated product, on the other hand, and this is more for monopolistic competition and monopolies and oligopolies, although a monopoly might be a unique product. A differentiated product is different based on perceived or real quality differences. I'm looking at you, fancy bottled water manufacturers with your magical hydrogen and oxygen. Come on, that's a commodity. Barriers to entry. This is about preventing competition and making it difficult for other firms to enter the market. Now, there's a few examples of barriers to entry, and it's kind of an interesting topic in economics. It could be something like network effects for something like Facebook or Google. It could be economies of scale for a manufacturing plant like a traditional auto manufacturer like General Motors. Or it could be something like intellectual property rights, for example, patents. Market power. This is when a firm can increase price above marginal cost and then earn economic profits. You cannot do this in perfect competition in the long run. They don't have market power. Price taker. Again, perfect competition, you are a price taker. You have no control over price. Perfectly competitive firms receive their price from the market. Markets on the left, firms on the right. Mr. DARP. I'm missing AR there. AR is average revenue. Marginal revenue equals demand equals price. Allocative efficiency. Important word. This is when the marginal benefit to consumers, that's how happy they are about buying it, is equal to the marginal cost from producers, or how much it costs those producers to make the good. We have it when price is equal to marginal cost on from a graphical perspective. Basically, it means that production or quantity is meeting society's wants. It's working well. Don't confuse this, though, with productive efficiency. Productive efficiency takes place when price equals the minimum amount of ATC, or average total cost. Remember, perfect competition has firms that are both productively and allocatively efficient in the long run. They'll always be allocatively efficient, but not necessarily productively efficient in the short run. Constant cost industry. This is when we see a horizontal or perfectly elastic, remember, perfectly elastic, straight lines, horizontal lines, for the long run supply curve. When new firms enter the market, it does not impact the cost for existing firms. No change there. Increasing cost industries, though, are different. Here we have an upward sloping long run supply curve, and new firms entering the market actually increase the resource prices for all firms. There's upward pressure on the prices for those. Maybe this is something like lots of new manufacturing companies are hiring engineers, and then engineers can demand higher salaries. Again, increasing the costs in the whole industry. Decreasing cost industry. These are cool. This is a downward sloping long run supply curve, and new firms entering actually push down the costs in the industry. That sounds cool. When other firms enter, your costs are going to go lower. Great. But wait a minute. Other firms entering also probably means the price that you can demand is lower because there's more substitutes. That's all I got. Thanks for watching.